I am a 100% believer the body wants to be healthy. We just got to remove all the things that we're doing, whether it's, the trauma or the food or the choices or all the things that are preventing our bodies from being healthy and optimized. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
like you just shared that perfect example. You just removed some of those obstacles. The body's automatically going to start to be healthier.
And it changes that fast,
Yeah.
right? So it instantly starts doing its job. Because what I always talk about, as long as you're being chased by a lion, your system's not going to do maintenance. It's going to do low maintenance because it's focused on survival. So all the things that your body can do, it temporarily stops doing until it escapes the threat. But the problem is trauma keeps looping and running. So it keeps the threat active and then the maintenance doesn't happen. And then we're in there trying to patch up all the damage that's being done because the maintenance isn't getting done. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so key. Because we actually do like the saliva cortisol test. So we see people's saliva curves during the day and see where their cortisol patterns run. And I have clients that I work with that they are 24/7 always in stressed out mode. Whether it's a lot of times it is trauma and capital
Yep.
T trauma, smaller T trauma, but sometimes the way that people are, I work with a lot of business owners, the way that they're running their business is basically running their life and controlling their cortisol levels too. So
Yeah. So they're dealing with that on a constant basis. Then you add in trauma,
yeah,
right? Unresolved trauma. So if you get the unresolved trauma taken care of, the day-to-day stress they can handle a lot better. And then everything that you're doing is going to improve it because then the maintenance accelerates, which is exactly what you're talking about.
that's where we love to come in. And once we get that calmed down and get them out of that stress mode, that's kind of where we excel in building that foundation of health. You can measure your deficiency in these certain nutrients, these specific building blocks that your body needs. So we supplement with those to overcome those deficiencies and optimize hormones and optimize other functionings happening in the body. And people are surprised at how good they can feel in such a short period of time.
What do you typically see when people come in? Like, what's the majority of the stuff that you're dealing with?
Yeah. So for the first decade of my doctor career, I ran programs to reverse diabetes and reverse heart disease. And so most of the people coming in, they had a lot of things going on, a lot of medications on insulin for multiple years. And still we do that same process and find out what those obstacles were and help them to be able to reverse those conditions and get off their medications in a short period of time. I did get a little burnt out working with those groups of people that had a lot going on and a little bit frustrated because we would do amazing work over a year and they would be transformed physically and they'd finish the program and go right back to where they were before because we weren't addressing trauma correctly and so they're probably that trauma pulled them back in
Yep.
with what we're doing. And so then I had a group of clients that were business owners and entrepreneurs and younger and hadn't quite developed all those things. They might have been pre-diabetic or just started to show the signs of blood pressure being elevated, things like that. And so I started running the same program with them and they would feel super amazing. We would reverse their pre-diabetes, reverse their start of high blood pressure, and they would function better, perform better, and show up better as a business owner, different things. And that kind of led to me meeting some higher level entrepreneurs and even higher level entrepreneurs. And then they were all referring more and more people. So basically right now we work with business owners and it works good too, because business owners have a growth mindset generally. And so then they can take that growth mindset and apply that to their health. And so they realize the things that we're doing is really beneficial. I have a business owner who's 31 years old and has perfect blood pressure and maybe a little bit high blood sugars and different things. So we have a huge spectrum kind of across the board on the conditions we treat, but it's all about finding those people that have the right growth mindset that are going to want to put forth effort and make the changes. And those are the people that we can make those drastic changes and get them on those different aging curves like we talked about earlier.
Well, the key is getting them to want to get the help, right? And
Right.
follow the program, right? So if they do, then it just works, right? And
Absolutely.
people say to us all the time is like, well, how do I know it's going to work? And I said, because it's science. Science
Yeah.
works. Just follow
Yep.
the science, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with somebody and they come in, right, what's the process that you take them through? Like, tell me from beginning to end.
I'm all about, talking about science. We actually want to look at data. And we do very different lab testing compared to conventional doctors. I've said good things about conventional doctors and some not good things about conventional doctors. The majority of the lab testing that conventional doctors do is to figure out which medications they can give you.
Right.
All right. So when the lab work we do, we're doing a very deep dive into figuring out what's going on inside your cells and what do your cells need to function better. And so our lab work is very different and very extensive. Instead of looking at 20 markers, we're looking at 200 markers, 200 plus markers. And then we build a custom plan. So we build out nutrition plan, supplement plan, hormone optimization plan, peptide therapy plan, and then also plan to address any of those issues we find. Because generally, without a doubt, we find insulin resistance, leaky gut, other kind of more chronic underlying issues that are feeding inflammation and feeding damage to the body. And then we build a plan to reverse those and reverse the insulin resistance, reverse and heal the leaky gut, the hormones and all those things. And they start feeling better slowly but surely. And then they add more fancy things in, like we talked about with peptide therapies and longevity and anti-aging stuff down the line. And then we basically go quarter by quarter. What is it? You asked, what is it like working with us? So we go quarter by quarter, adjusting and shifting the plan based on goals, based on lab work, based on what we're trying to address. So every 90 days, the body gives plenty of time for things to change and to adjust and to heal. And then we have a different picture. And then we take the next step, the next step, the next step, quarter by quarter.
Awesome. If people follow the plan just works, right? And so most people don't understand their body to begin with. And so they just need somebody to get in there and give them the information and just follow the plan.
Like I said, we work with a lot of business owners. And so the business owners have their P&L for their business and look at all the KPIs and the numbers. And so I'm like, well, that's what we do for your health. And so you hire us to be your chief medical officer. We analyze all the data and then tell you what the next steps are. Just like if you had a chief marketing officer, they would look at all the data and tell us, okay, this is what we need to do for marketing or XYZ, or, just like, you have those roles in your business. So you don't need to be the expert on medical. We just tell you what to do.
What's smart about what you're doing too is working with business owners. I love working with business owners and athletes because they're generally the more disciplined people, right? So when you tell an athlete or you tell a business owner, this is what you need to do to have a successful business, the people who have been successful know they have to follow it, right? There's no luck or magic to most success, whether it's in health or business. It really comes down to following a really good game plan.
Yeah. Oh, and you're right. Because if you don't have that right mindset, then that's why you're looking for that magic pill that conventional medicine promises. That's why the blood pressure medicine looks so appealing because, does that blood pressure pill lower your blood pressure? Yes. But is it addressing the reason why the blood pressure is high? No. And so that's what we work to address. And so the athletes, the business owners, they realize that step-by-step process is necessary for success. There's never a magic pill. There's never a magic pill in business. There's never a magic pill in athletics. And so they had that mindset already. So you're right.
Yeah. And they know how to work hard and they're not afraid of hard work. And that's the big thing where you get somebody who's just never had to go through those tough times to get through those days when it doesn't feel like it's going to work. They just got to keep plowing on. Entrepreneurs and athletes tend to be those people that can do that.